Tinfoil hat. Hey everybody, it's tinfoil hat time. If it would stay on my damn head. My God. I've had a... Hello? Anyone out there? Hello? Just gonna wait to build up an audience here. Oh, there's one person. I can't keep my tinfoil hat on. It just won't stay on. Sorry, people that are stuck in that two-party paradigm. I'm sorry. My tinfoil hat won't stay on. I know you want me to have it on. So anyways, a few things that I want to discuss today that I think are pretty important. I guess, hi Cindy, got my tinfoil hat on. Please share this video because we're gonna watch a video from Anonymous. It's a message for the complacent masses. I've dealt with some complacent masses today. I know you say that we need to accept them, you know, into our community or whatever, but when they sit there and they discredit you and they mock you and act like the corporate media. Thanks, Cindy. Hey, they told me I wear a tinfoil hat, so I thought I would. I'm gonna do better, but you know, this is just for now. There's a very important message from Anonymous concerning Pizzagate. I think everybody that you know needs to watch this. If you can, please share it. Pizzagate's not going away, no matter what the corporate media tells you. We're being attacked left and right because we're telling the truth, and they don't like that. This story, this Pizzagate story or whatever, it's basically the story of human trafficking, human slavery, and I think everybody needs to know about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this video from Anonymous, and then I want you to comment on how you feel about that video, what you think it means, and where you think we're headed. All right, so I'm going to turn it on now, and we're going to watch it together. All right, are you ready? Let's go. Please don't have any children in the room because I forget what they say, but just, you know. Hey Roxy, we're watching the video. The message from Anonymous to the complacent masses. That's the thing, there's thousands of us. There's probably millions of us by now. We're going to expose this no matter what. Some people are hitting their death switches to expose it. There we go. Let's get started. Can everybody hear it? I sure hope so, because this is important.
Hello world, we are Anonymous. With my last video release on the Pizzagate scandal. A scandal that is spreading like a cure spreading through diseased tissue. More information is being released and more will come in the following weeks. The FBI have confirmed that podestas were in Spain at the exact same time as the McCanns. Also, a homeless English girl in Rome linked to high-profile missing person cases was located. Here is a video released on that story.
I'll turn it up. turn my phone around. We're watching a video right now. We're watching an important video. You mean like this? Oh, okay. There we go.
Also, Anonymous has exposed another pedo ring operating from Australia through to Europe and Asia. Not once ever has WikiLeaks wanted to publish any of the evidence on any of the cases we have given to them. Anonymous exposed that they are getting paid to release now. Anonymous seeks no money or popularity, just justice and for children to stop being harmed and abused by anyone.
God, that'd be nice,
Anonymous
wouldn't it?
News announced 2 weeks ago they are now severing ties with WikiLeaks. All the people worldwide who have been exposing the pedophile rings, sex trafficking rings, human trafficking are being threatened. The investigators, activists are being threatened. The professionals are being threatened. Their entire families threatened. You don't do this unless what is being exposed is real. Share this message and talk about it with those who might not be aware. To the demons at the top, we are coming to expose you. You will not be able to hide from the truth. And that feeling you are feeling is fear. And the ones exposing you can smell it and will continue to follow the scent. It is the same fear you use on the general public every day. Be ready for the hammer to drop. Expect us.
It says on Tuesday, May 3rd, 1994, this program was scheduled to air on the Discovery Channel. Influential members of Congress applied pressure to the cable industry to stop the airing of the program and destroy all copies. It was already listed nationwide in the April 30th to May 6th edition of TV Guide and newspaper supplements. The Discovery Channel and Yorkshire Television were reimbursed for the $250,000 to $500,000 production costs. This is the program they didn't want you to see. Conspiracy of Silence.
Once one of America's top Republicans, Lawrence King is serving a 15-year prison sentence for a multi-million-dollar fraud. But financial crime is only half the story. This is the true story of Lawrence King. It is the story of a cancer at the heart of America and of its continuing cover-up at the highest level. One man is attempting to uncover the full story. John DeCamp is among the most highly decorated Vietnam veterans. A former Republican state senator in Lincoln, Nebraska, he is now a lawyer fighting the legacy of Lawrence King's abuse of power.
It's a web of intrigue that starts in our Holy of Holies, Boys Town, Nebraska, one of the most respected institutions in the United States, and spreads out like a spider
Trigger
web
warning,
from
guys.
Washington, D.C., right up to the steps of the nation's capital, the steps of the White House, involves some of the most respected and powerful and richest businessmen in this United States of America. And the centerpiece of the entire web is the use of children for sex and drug dealing and drug couriers, the compromising of politicians, the compromising of businessmen, but worst of all, the corruption of key institutions of government that have the duty and responsibility to make sure these things never happen.
For John DeCamp, the trail starts in a unique town just outside Omaha.
World-famed Boys Town is in the news again.
Made famous by an Oscar-winning film, Boys Town is America's favorite children's charity. It was founded in 1917 by a Catholic priest, Father Flanagan.
Father Flanagan.
The saddest spectacle in our social life is the neglected, unwanted, and unloved boy who has become a serious problem in our society.
Boys Town was started to be a home for orphans. That was after World War I. And since then, society has changed and the problems of boys have changed. And so now, it's a question of taking care of homeless, abandoned, neglected, abused boys and now girls also. Boys Town has been granted the privileges of an incorporated town, a Catholic diocese, and a school district for 500 children. Boys Town has cash reserves of $500 million, but still raises up to $35 million annually, solicited from the public by begging letters and promotional videos.
I'm Father Val Peter, the caretaker of Father Flanagan Stream and the executive director of Boys Town. Does Boys Town really exist, people ask me? You bet it does.
Located in the heartland of America, Boys Town youth have come from many backgrounds and locales. As they graduate, they shall seek new adventures and head for different places. But always, they shall carry with them the spirit of Boys Town. If you'd like to help Boys Town, send your tax-deductible gift to Father Val Peter, Boys Town, Nebraska.
Joy, we're all anonymous. There's millions of us.
Boys Town, for me, was the first thing I ever heard of when you think of institutions that you respect. Believe it or not, I was there for a while when I was a young boy. When an institution like that gets contaminated, then you're better, if you got any decency at all, do something about it, or at least get it cleared up.
John DeCamp lays the blame for the contamination of Boys Town on the one-time leader of the National Black Republican Council, Larry King.
Larry King was the fastest rising black star in the entire
You guys see that at the top?
of the United States.
Said
during
Clinton
all
Foundation
the
organ harvesting.
And he was also one of the most evil individuals in this country in terms of being a dealer of children, in terms of being a thief, 40 million that they documented he stole, and in terms of using and compromising and corrupting one after another politicians.
The base for his network was the Franklin Federal Credit Union, a people's bank in Omaha, Nebraska. Larry King was its general manager.
Trigger warning, I heard this is brutal, so don't have any kids in the room or anything, because I don't know what to expect. I'm watching it the first time with you guys.
Mr. King was a very charismatic person. When he came to the credit union, he was brought in because the credit union was actually failing. He did everything to build the credit union.
King courted the leaders of Omaha's wealthy business district. Banks, industry, and charities placed millions of dollars in King's hands. From 1979, Larry King developed close commercial ties to Boys Town, and Boys Town youngsters were sent to work for his companies.
Boys Town had quite a few accounts at Franklin Credit Union. Those were considered very valuable accounts. They were handled exclusively by the bookkeeping department. But on the average of once a month or once every 2 months, we always seemed to incorporate a person from Boys Town.
But King used Boys Town not just as a source of young boys for his business. He prostituted them at sex and drug orgies. Paul Benassi was a victim of King's abuse. He was also sent by King to lure Boys Town youngsters off campus.
No, but it's fake, huh?
We used to just drive around and go through the home.
God, I get so
That's
sick
when
of
we used
hearing
to
that.
do some of the scavenger hunts with picking up some of the kids. You know, just kind of win their confidence, become friends with them for a while. Start inviting them to the parties. The kids were 10 years old or older.
In 1986, King's plundering of Boys Town was reported by staff to its chief executive, Father Val Peter. Subsequent testimony proves that he carried out his own investigation, but that King's victims refused to talk to him. Monsignor Hupp now blames himself for Boys Town's association with Larry King.
Well, in retrospect, I regret having any association with Larry King. Had I known it at the time, it would never have happened.
Could you understand why a very detailed report from a social worker employed at Boys Town, identifying children and identifying their alleged abusers, never saw the light of day? Nothing happened with that.
No, I can understand that because had I known that, I wouldn't put up with that. But is that something like that happened? I don't know.
Nebraska has a very clear statute that child abuse allegations should be reported to authorities. They shouldn't be reported to the principal of a school, the director of a facility. They should be reported directly to either Child Protective Services or law enforcement.
And so Larry King remained free to feed his pedophilic parties with child victims. But in 1988, a routine review brought King's involvement with Boys Town youth to the attention of Nebraska's State Foster Care Review Board.
In the information presented to the Foster Care Review Board, either via the telephone reports, the personal reports, or the reports we reviewed, Larry King's name was consistently present as someone that the youth were making allegations against. I would say we handed over at least a foot-high amount of material to authorities, and nothing happened.
Of course.
Omaha police
Never does it?
Larry King may have been abusing children.
Good morning, Roberta.
But its most senior officer claims the evidence was not conclusive.
It is certainly possible that Mr. King was involved in illegal acts with children. If there was sufficient evidence of those types of allegations, he would have been prosecuted by the county attorney's office.
For me, it was very clear that the case was not investigated and not pursued because of the alleged perpetrators.
Those perpetrators named by the children were some of the richest and most influential citizens in positions of power in the state.
Imagine that.
Prominent in industry, politics, the media, even the police. We can only name the ringleaders. Besides Larry King, they were department store millionaire Alan Baer and the celebrity columnist of Omaha's only newspaper, the World Herald, Peter Citron. With the judicial system apparently paralyzed, Larry King spent Franklin's money on courting political influence. $10 million went on jewelry, flowers, and private planes. He cultivated contacts in the inner circles of Ronald Reagan's White House. At his palatial homes, 3 in Omaha and 1 in Washington, D.C., he held extravagant parties for the influential and powerful. His lavish spending bought him a protected life.
Larry King was constantly heralded, cheered, applauded in the news media as the great businessman that's helping the poor people, the black community of Omaha.
But King's extravagance attracted the attention of the Internal Revenue Service. As a result, on April the 11th, 1988, the Franklin Credit Union was raided and closed by the FBI. King was arrested, and the federal investigation showed he had stolen $40 million from Franklin. Documents we possess reveal the FBI interviewed many of the victims of Larry King's sex ring, but no action was taken.
And he was a
In
Republican.
November 1988,
This ain't about
Nebraska's
politics.
state government set up a parallel investigation into Larry King. A legislative committee was formed. Its chairman was the Republican head of Nebraska's Banking Committee, corn farmer and state senator Lawrence Schmidt. Immediately, anonymous threats began.
I received a phone call on the floor of the legislature. The caller did not identify himself, but he said, "Lauren, you do not want to have an investigation of the Franklin Federal Credit Union." And I asked who I was speaking to, and they said, "That doesn't matter, but you shouldn't have that investigation." And I said, "Well, why not?" He said, "It will reach to the highest levels of the Republican Party, and we're both good Republicans."
Undeterred, the
And
committee
now it's the
began their
Democrats,
investigation,
which I think it's always
and the
been
money
both
trail
parties,
led quickly to the
because they
original
practice that
allegations of
stupid
child abuse.
Babylonian religion.
Carolyn Stitt was one of the first to testify.
The night before we testified before the legislative committee, I did receive a phone call at home that said, "If you speak, you won't live to regret it."
To protect the inquiry, Schmidt's committee hired special legal counsel and full-time professional investigators Gary Caradori and Karen Ormiston.
I said, we do not want you to bring to the
Paul
committee
said he just got his
rumors,
tinfoil hat out of layaway for this.
nothing that cannot be backed up with facts. I said, bring to the committee that which we can take to a prosecutor.
The investigators found new victims of King's pedophile network, many on the streets of Omaha. The picture they built up was of a large ring of rich and powerful pedophiles, many named the same men as
Disgusting.
those involved with
That
the
shouldn't
Boys
be
Town
even in the
cases
same
3
word
years
together.
earlier.
Rich
They
and
were telling us
powerful
about
pedophiles.
prominent people in Omaha and elsewhere.
See how
that
fucking
were
rich and
abusing
powerful they are with a
children
gun to their
at,
head.
at parties.
The prominent citizens,
Yeah, I said that. I don't give a shit.
names
Fuck 'em.
that originally came up were of concern to me because I knew many of those individuals.
I didn't name names, did I?
And I, very frankly, was shocked to have those names show up on the list.
To
Thank
provide
you
the
for
committee
sharing
with
this
hard
video.
evidence, the investigators recorded their new witnesses on videotape. Paul Benassi had been the victim of abuse since he was 8. He was present at many of Larry King's sex parties. Caradori traced him to the county jail. He had been
Thanks,
convicted
guys,
of
for watching
fondling
this
his
awful
young cousin.
stuff for me. It's so shameful that people still don't believe this is happening. Right under our fucking noses, and now they're putting it in plain sight. Not even hiding it anymore. It's disgusting.
Media personality Peter Citron procured some of his victims from Boys Town.
The kids he liked were mainly around the age of probably about 8 and 13. It was mainly fondling and oral sex with them. He did have some anal sex, but he usually did that with the older kids.
The parties involved ever more sadistic abuse.
Whenever you were tied up, was there anybody else present other than you, Peter Citron? Yes.
No wonder we have such bad mental illness in this country. Look what people are doing to people. People. I don't know if I want to call them people, but you know.
For a large number of sadistic pedophiles. Paul Benassi suffered at their hands.
Poor kid.
Troy Bonner was found by the investigators and his videotape testimony taken under oath.
I was shocked when I walked in. There was a kid, I would say about 15 years old, out in the middle of the room. One guy was standing in front of him. He was bent over, and the other guy was like reaching under him, playing with his nipples. Wow. A guy whom Jeff told me was a police officer shoving beads up his rectum. The police officer was shoving beads up his rectum? Yes.
Bonner named Alan Bear as the man who introduced him to the sex parties.
Alan Bear was a sick fuck. Didn't care, wanted sex, nasty, I don't even know if you can call it sex. Everything, from just, touching to fruit, squash, huge squash, that big around, stuck into you, into your ass, heat things, hot things, poked at you and stuck in you.
But the center of the child sex ring was Larry King.
Larry King was the same kind of sick fuck Alan Bear was, except Larry King was more violent, more sure of himself, I got those scars on my arm one night at a party where Larry King, wanted to see how strong a man we were or something, and have us put our arms together, and then you'd light cigarettes, and as soon as you get burning, you just drop them down between your arms, and, let it burn. And they made us stand there naked and touch each other while holding our arms together and burn cigarettes where, it's on film someplace. I mean, they filmed it burning, see him fuck a 10-year-old boy in the ass, until he bled, and, just pull out and stop and, push him down, and then go out and, meet with decent people.
King would also provide underage girls for abuse. Alicia Owen told the investigators she was 15 when she attended her first party, introduced by a Boys Town boy. Caridori discovered her in jail where she was serving a sentence for passing bad checks.
After seeing this, if you think that we shouldn't be investigating our government, you're a fucking idiot. And you can tell anyone that I said that. I don't give a shit. I'm tired of the ignorance in this country. Just like Roxy said,
Frequently hosted the child sex parties
like she said yesterday.
At the Twin Towers luxury block in Omaha.
A lot of it was me handcuffed with my hands behind my head and my feet tied and doing different things.
Major trigger warning from politics and stuff.
Sometimes you think I was straddling over my face. Okay. Most of the time, Larry King took pictures quite a bit during that time.
I know it's difficult.
I don't know. Okay. Well, I think I could say no. Okay. But I don't know.
Okay. And Alicia, you're a victim.
Their favorite people are weak-minded, I know that. That's their favorites, that's who they go after.
We were appalled.
Letitia said she's literally grabbing her Xanax.
The way it came across.
She's having a panic attack.
In person.
I'm sorry.
It was incredible. It's incredible what these kids went through, I think.
Larry King was also here. He came in and we drank and did cocaine. I didn't do much. And
Fine, upstanding citizens, aren't they?
Drugs is a strong part of
They got you guys fooled.
how they got
They don't
control
have
from
me
the kids,
fucking fooled.
because that's
I
what
don't want to go
some of the
near that
kids
slime.
were there to get. They would
Wish we could
do the
replace them.
sexual action and be provided with cocaine or whatever type of drug they wanted.
Heroin, I don't know, but that was my drug of choice, Till this day, I remain an addict,
And those of us that
Fucked up their lives forever
and didn't want to be involved were threatened.
for somebody's sadistic pleasure. Bullshit.
Larry King,
Larry King personally did?
I think she did. And they threatened, that I can go find somebody that will kill you, and it will kill your family. You didn't tell anybody.
Larry King was, I would say, the center of transporting the children around the country.
Those kind of criminals are the kind of people that I advocate gun rights for Americans.
They were paid for.
And I do advocate background checks too. Strict background checks.
We met Larry King was there. There was 3 boys that I had seen at one of the receptions at the Coach Cafe were there. And I'm almost positive they were Boys Town boys. Almost positive. They were there.
Paul said, somebody said Larry King is the fall guy for the top. Oh yeah, I know. Well, back then they weren't able to investigate like they can now. So.
Frequently during the investigation, but we found it very difficult to get information about Boys Town. I was not able to find any information on my visit there, and Mr. Caridori could not get information either.
Boys Town today remains unwilling to discuss its involvement with Larry King. We were banned from filming at Boys Town, and its public affairs officer refused any interviews.
Yeah, free country, huh?
I would have to give you a flat no. I'm just going to tell you at this point that we will not participate with you. We have no interest in talking to you folks. It's something that we don't even care to delve into.
Probably tried to dismiss it as fake news too, I wonder.
By the spring of 1990, the Nebraska State Committee was convinced by the evidence of an organized child abuse ring. Its chairman, Lawrence Schmidt, sought the advice of his lawyer, John DeCamp. On his advice, Schmidt turned over all the sworn evidence to the FBI. But immediately, the videotape testimony was leaked to a hostile local media.
The media immediately started discrediting the witnesses.
Oh, imagine that.
The witnesses came across in the media, in the Omaha World Herald, especially, as the criminals.
The last 3 victim witnesses were demolished by the press, particularly the Omaha World Herald. The paper never looked for information that would support any of the allegations. The whole purpose of the stories was to destroy any credibility that these youth may have.
I've heard that people said that Gary Caradori coached me and that he
What a fucking
told me what
coincidence.
to say.
Yeah.
But the fact was, I didn't meet Gary Caradori until way after I'd already talked to the Omaha police about the abuse and had named all the same people.
Paul Benassi maintains that neither the FBI nor the Omaha police took his allegations seriously.
Huh.
And they didn't ask me very much about Larry King or even Alan Bear at all. They treated the allegations that I made about the people who abused me almost like a joke.
The stories were of such significance that the investigators first wanted to prove the accuracy of the stories. As they set about the investigation of the initially three, and then a 4th person who were telling the stories, as the investigation developed, it became obvious to the investigators that the information was not accurate, that in fact it was an entire conspiracy of allegations, none of which had any truth to them.
I was very disappointed with the way the FBI and law enforcement treated the victims. They, in fact, turned them into the offenders, so to speak.
They like to do that, don't they? Gaslighting.
Was delivered to them
Just like they did with Bernie and Hillary.
and interrogating the persons whom the victims identified. They seemed to bear down and try to get the victims to change their story.
It seemed to the investigators that the establishment of Omaha was closing ranks. Then Troy Bonner was brought in for questioning by the FBI.
The FBI's attitude was, just no, these kind of things don't happen. From the first interview when I went, and realized they don't believe a fucking thing I'm saying, they were just...
No wonder children won't come forward. Yep.
That look in their eye was back then, it was fear. It was fear of them, I had witnessed, firsthand things that would, destroy this city, people, the position, you know what I mean? It's not going to be believed, they said. It will not be believed. You will be found guilty of perjury, and they weren't telling me maybe. They were saying, there's no way. You go on with this story, you're going to jail. That was said to me direct.
Wow.
Troy Bonner agreed to withdraw his videotape testimony. The FBI used Troy in an attempt to persuade fellow witness Alicia Owen into abandoning her evidence about Larry King's nationwide network of powerful pedophiles.
Yuck. I hate that
We have
when
obtained
they
the
say that
recording of
together.
a phone call made by the FBI on March the 9th, 1990.
We got fucking people living homeless, but we got powerful pedophiles? What the fuck? Stop this planet. I want off.
This is Special Agent Michael F. Mott. Following will be a consensually recorded telephone call between Troy Bonner and Alicia Owen.
Hello? Hello. Hi. Hey, what's going on?
I'd like to ask you that.
Talk to I'm lying?
Yeah.
You concocted this whole thing, Alicia.
You're full of shit.
Either tell me what's going on.
You're full of shit.
Hey, look.
Who do you have listening on the line?
I have nobody listening to me. I'm listening to you, and I'm hoping you give me some fucking answers.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what kind of game you're playing.
I'm not trying to play a game. I'm not going to go to jail for you. And that's what's going to happen.
Why would you go to jail? Jail for telling the truth?
No, jail for lying.
What have you lied about?
I haven't lied.
Okay, but why are...
Listen, shut up. Listen to me. You're not out here being talked to them every day. The pressure's kind of hard.
You literally have to have bricks for brains to take on the FBI in this country. And that's exactly what you'd have to do this properly. They now, in my opinion, in my investigation, are the architects of the cover-up.
We asked the FBI in Omaha for an interview about its investigation of the Franklin scandal.
Larry Holmquist with the FBI here. We feel it would be inappropriate for us to comment. We work this with the Omaha Police Department, and we just don't feel it would be appropriate for us to make comments.
As the investigators sought out new witnesses, they found themselves under constant threat.
Gary was threatened several times. His vehicles were tampered with. I would think whoever tampered with them, it was a scare tactic because it was so obvious that they were being tampered with.
Gary it was one...
Like a mafia, they use intimidation and...
He even said he got one step ahead of him this time. He told us about this book, his like addresses, telephone numbers, names. He said if they knew he had it, they'd kill him.
On July the 11th, 1990,
No fucking
Gary
around.
Caradori and his 8-year-old son AJ were flying home from Chicago in his light aircraft. They had watched the All-Star baseball game, and Caradori had been pursuing new leads.
Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are in Harold Cameron's cornfield, trying to determine what caused this private plane to crash, killing its 2 occupants.
The bodies of Gary Caradori and 8-year-old AJ were found in the wreckage.
National Transportation Safety Board investigators say wreckage from the crash is apparently strewn over a 3/4 to 1 mile long stretch in this field.
The fact that the wreckage is scattered over a large area certainly demonstrates that it did break up in flight. The exact mechanism of breakup yet is still unknown.
The federal investigation was never able to discover what tore the plane apart.
God, we have an inefficient government, don't we?
His briefcase is missing. I think the plane was sabotaged. There's no doubt in my mind.
Within 24 hours of the tragedy, all Caradori's records were impounded by the FBI.
Of course.
Gary's widow, Sandy, is still unable to come to terms with her loss.
As a mother, I don't want to ever think that somebody murdered my child, let alone my husband. But I think if you'd ever talk to any parent, be it mother or father, who's ever lost a child, I mean, the worst thing that you can think of is that somebody would want to murder a child.
Well, not anymore, we don't think that.
Somebody killed my brother. And,
We know it.
inside me, I know somebody killed my brother. If somebody could help us out somewhere, somebody knows something. And,
Sorry.
may God help those who did that to him and his family.
The effect of Gary's crash on the investigation, I think, in effect, put an end to anybody else coming forward.
Yep. Any further inquiry? Because at that time, it was easier to keep people silent.
They're still
You
out
didn't have
there.
the internet.
They're afraid to come forward.
And that's when I was finished, because I figured out if they murdered Gary and his son, there was nothing that would stop them. There was no piece of paper. There was nothing we could come up with that was going to get anything done.
You got to be willing to risk your life to change the structure of your government. That's just the facts. Anonymous is going to talk about that too.
Tell Senator Schmidt's committee about the FBI's pressure which led him to lie.
I set the record straight. I was, going to do it. And would, the truth would come out, and somebody would be held accountable for his death. And then at the funeral, I had seen, FBI guys, and they looked at me. I was supposed to meet Senator Lebeds and Schmidt for lunch after the funeral. And, that's when I decided, I told my mom, we're not going to do the lunch. We're going to hightail it out of Lincoln now.
Troy Bonner claims that pressure from the FBI and with the assistance of the county attorney's office in Omaha led him to swear a new statement claiming that he and Alicia Owen had concocted the entire child abuse story. He told this story to a grand jury formed to bring any charges. On July the 23rd, 1990, the grand jury issued a bizarre and contradictory report. It indicted Larry King for fraud and embezzlement and ruled that he had paid young men for sex, but dismissed allegations about his sex ring. It indicted Alan Baer for the serious offense of pandering for sex, but rejected evidence linking him to King or to Citron, whom it noted had been convicted of separate child molestation charges. It accepted that Troy, Alicia, and Paul Benassi had been abused, but not by the people they identified. And for refusing to withdraw her evidence,
I need to
it charged Alicia Owen
plug my phone in
with
here.
perjury.
Sorry.
Lawrence Schmidt's legislative committee issued a report denouncing the grand jury. Schmidt acknowledges that the system failed both the victims and him.
Of course, they always fucking do. Inefficient as hell.
I think to distinguish a record as anyone could put together in 24 years.
Practice their
I was
stupid
told that would be
Babylonian religion or whatever.
And it
Use
was.
it to control people
told I
and
have
make them
facts
miserable
about
and
the idea.
make them slaves all
Message
their
was not
life.
lost on
Wow, what a
most
wonderful
politicians
way
in
to run a
Nebraska.
country.
I
God, what
think the
losers.
message was delivered was if any legislative committee
I know there's a
tries
lot of
to
people that
conduct
could
a
do
thorough
better than they
investigation
can.
Again, the same thing will happen.
But you gotta get over your fucking fear.
It has shaken my faith in the institutions of government. I used to be
I never had faith in the United States government, unfortunately.
that system would work. And that people who did things wrong would be punished.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
And
it?
we discovered victims who claimed to have been abused and who the grand jury acknowledged had been abused.
I'd go for that,
But they did
Tisha.
not try
Tisha for
to
President
find out who had
2020.
abused those individuals. Instead, they convicted Alicia Owen of perjury. Indefensible from my point of view.
The trial took place in July 1991. Troy Bonner testified that the child abuse story had been an invention. As a result, Alicia Owen was sentenced to between 9 and 25 years in prison.
I can't find a case in the history of this country where some kid got sentenced to 25 or 30 years in prison for something like this. If you were going to pick a what I call a telesign, something that says something fishy about the whole thing, it was in the sentencing itself. For some reason, they had to send a signal to every kid who was a potential witness.
Yep,
My
she
opinion.
went to prison.
A signal so loud and clear, if you dare to come forward, if you dare to talk, watch what happens.
Why would they protect pedophiles? What kind of fucking... You don't even have a conscience if you're going to protect that. Ugh.
Peter
God.
Citron served 2 years of a 3 to 8 year sentence. Thanks to Troy Bonner's
I could have
rise,
one kid or I
Larry
could have
King
100 and I'd
faced child
still
sex
hate
charges.
pedophiles.
For the $40 million
I wish they'd
fraud,
create a new
he was given
job
15
called
years
pedo
sentence,
assassin.
10 years
It'd be
less
all
than Alicia
fucking...
Owen.
You know? It'd be a great job.
I should be taken out and shot for doing that. And if that was to happen, I would go willingly.
That's just one example. There's also examples all over the country. Tisha said, this is really fucked up. You're damn right it is, girl. I think that's why Anonymous put it out there, is because, you know.
John DeCamp, former state senator and Vietnam veteran, is now the only man fighting to help Larry King's victims. He is the lawyer trying to overturn Alicia Owen's conviction and to expose the cover-up.
We need more lawyers.
Hell, I was born here, raised here.
Honest
I have 4
ones.
kids growing up here.
There has to be some.
Like it or not, it's my heritage, you know? Well, if it's a dirty cesspool that I gotta live in or look back on that I left, that ain't good. The real cost, if I were gonna say to my family, has been the fear and intimidation it's put in some of the kids. A couple of the kids are really, really frightened and really had some sleeping problems over it, you know, here, this or that. So that's been the real concern I've had.
John has received anonymous threats and has turned for advice to his friend and one-time boss, former head of the CIA,
Letitia says,
William Colby.
this was a cover-up on a massive scale.
The one thing the bad people can't afford is publicity, and knocking you off right now or doing something obvious to one of your kids would bring them more trouble than it's worth.
You know, there's millions of us, so good luck.
I said you have to consider the possibility of some danger to not only your reputation, but to your person. I mean, people do react rather violently to some kinds of charges.
Yeah, fucking psychopaths that are in power.
There's more apt to be a negative reaction than if they're false. If they're false charges, then they can be reacted to in a normal way by a libel suit or whatever. But if there's truth in it, there can be a danger in that situation. We've seen that happen in other cases.
John arranges to meet Troy Bonner, the young man he sees as the key to the cover-up.
He's in great danger. The reason is he carries the secret, so to speak. He served his purpose for the FBI and others by committing the lies that put the seal on the cover-up.
Letitia says, fuck my reputation, and I'm not afraid of nothing that walks. I want to expose the truth.
And Troy
Hell yeah.
wants to tell the truth, despite very real fears.
My fears are that, I'm not going to be believed again. It's just, going to be a whole other kind of exploitation like it was last time. And afraid that that's going to happen, or, I might end up dead, or a loved one might end up dead.
Troy has an overriding reason for putting the record straight.
Maybe somebody has a better idea.
I want this to go forward and have something done so that all those other kids who a lot worse things have happened to can come forward and see that action can be taken.
You have to, if you want to protect yourself and your life and your family's life, both now and particularly in the future, is to use the institutions of government that have been set up to protect you and make them work. That means
there we go.
You go into federal court. You go after the people that have done this cover-up,
yes.
and you expose it so there's no longer any percentage on their part in eliminating you because the secret's out.
Yeah,
yep.
That's why we're here today, to let it out.
John's advice to Troy to tell the truth in court puts him at risk of prosecution by the county attorney's office.
Potentially, they could decide to charge him with perjury because now he is telling that they forced me to lie. I did lie at Alicia's trial. I did lie before the grand jury. I did it because the authorities were forcing me to do it and I was scared for my family. Potentially, they could charge him with perjury this time.
Troy's appearance in court will keep Alicia Owen out of prison. She's on bail while DeCamp appeals against her perjury conviction. As her hearing approaches, vital new evidence emerges. Alicia claims that some of Troy's videotaped testimony was withheld from the grand jury which indicted her.
And thank you all for watching and sharing, by the way.
That were shown to the grand jury had been edited. Everything that matched Troy's statement
was shown.
That matched mine.
Because I know it's
was edited out. And I think maybe one of the things we want to do is show the judge specifically where these, little 5-minute segments of, look, this tape says this, and then show him it isn't in this tape, and this is the tape the grand jury saw.
I'm going to attempt to get these tapes, and we'll see what happens next.
But to obtain the tapes, DeCamp must approach some of the very officials he has accused in court of being involved in the cover-up.
You're welcome,
the county
Helen.
attorney's office, which ran the grand jury.
People need to know the
In
truth.
that good old Alicia Owen case, 127-194, I'm trying to get the evidence, the tapes, and the...
It's not about me, guys. People need to know the truth. I mean, if you're not afraid of death, then you're more of a threat to them, really, because if you're not afraid of death, you know, to tell you the truth, a life with putting up with that in our society, as advanced as we are technologically, I would rather die than put up with that kind of government. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. No, I'm not sorry. I don't care. You know? I know I did what, you know, I should have done. Let's educate people. Tell the truth. We can all do it. We all need to do it. We're going to need each other. You're going against people that have used religion for thousands of years to oppress people.
For John DeCamp, this is the proof of the king's sex ring for which he has been waiting.
Here it is, so to speak, the smoking gun that they could go out and verify, the corroboration. In other words, the linkage to King that was denied. Cover-up. Organized, planned, deliberate cover-up.
The courthouse, Wahoo, Nebraska. The hearing begins. Alicia Owen is ready to testify. So is Paul Bonassi. But there is no sign of Troy Bonner. DeCamp discovers that Robert Siegler has sent the young man a subpoena. Fearing arrest for perjury, Troy has gone into hiding. DeCamp is without his most vital witness.
Just think if he would have had an online community. Do you think it would have went the same way? I don't think so.
Search for Troy Bonner, but County Attorney Siegler won't say why.
Can I ask you whether you're about to charge Troy Bonner with perjury?
Oh, no. Every victim witness who stepped forward in any way, or even was a potential witness that somebody heard about, has either been killed, put in jail under some theory or other, terrified or run out of the state, discredited. Every perpetrator, even the convicted ones, have been treated as conquering heroes.
Peter Citron lives in the same house where he abused many of his young victims. Alan Bear lives in the most exclusive part of Omaha. He recently
Why should
bought a
someone
downtown
that
shopping
low
mall.
be able to live like that? You tell
Many of
me.
the other abusers
While there's
named by the
homeless
children
veterans that
have risen
fought for our
within
country, we
Nebraska's state
protect
government
that
and legal
scum.
system and within the Republican Party.
Obviously, the FBI was protecting something a lot more significant than a bunch of old pedophiles having improper relations with little boys. They were protecting something a lot more significant than a bunch of drug peddlers. They were protecting, in my opinion,
Hi, Lois. Steve, you can find it on the anonymous YouTube video.
politicians,
Share it.
some very
Spread
powerful,
knowledge.
wealthy individuals associated with those
You're
politicians
being called
and the
to
political
now.
system, up to and including
Unlike
the highest
any other time we've ever had, we're being called to spread knowledge fast.
In search of the men who protected Larry King, John DeCamp goes to Washington to investigate King's connections in the Republican Party and on Capitol Hill. Paul Bonassi provides him with the evidence that Larry King threw child sex parties here at his rented $5,000 a month Washington
Thank
house.
you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you for everybody for sharing this.
At first it was about 3 or 4 times the first year. After that it was about once a month.
I couldn't watch this alone. That's why I wanted to watch it with my online
Straight
community.
political type
So
parties,
thank you.
no sex. And then
And remember, I'm not suicidal. I'm perfectly happy. I'm not scared of death. I'll give my life for the truth. As long as you share it. That's all I need. Spread that
Some of the
knowledge.
kids would be held downstairs in some of the rooms where if they acted up or if they started freaking out because of the drugs that they were on,
Letitia says this man followed every
that they couldn't
lead.
get out of, and they would lock them in.
What kind of drugs?
Anything you wanted: cocaine, heroin, speedballs.
You're telling me
But then they make marijuana illegal?
Larry
Oh
King
my
and prominent
God.
politicians.
Yes.
Were they readily available to anybody at the party?
At the after parties, they were ready available for anybody. Beforehand, they did it more upstairs than they did anywhere else. It was kind of in the back rooms.
Were any attempts ever made that you know of to expose this situation?
As far as I know, nothing's ever been done, and most of the people that were in there had already been, I guess you could say, compromised.
No, Paul.
King's partner was
Thanks.
Washington lobbyist Craig Spence. Spence took youngsters, including Bonassi, on private midnight tours of the White House.
So you were in the White House then?
Yes.
And how did you gain access?
Well, I came down with Larry King, but Craig Spence was the one that arranged the trip for us. And it was kind of a gift for our services that we were doing.
How many times were you on this kind of a trip?
I came to it on 2 times.
2 times. And were you used for sex on those occasions?
Not until after we left.
After you left the White House?
Yeah.
What time of night?
It was usually around
You heard that, didn't you? The White House. Left around midnight.
For me, it was just kind of weird being in the White House at that time of the night and getting to go into places that the guy was telling us that nobody gets to go to. I mean, I seen rooms in there that I'd never even heard about. Craig Spence and Larry King had a couple of groups. One was called Bodies by God, and they had the Call Boys, and there was another group that was started by Larry King, which was called the Golden Boys, which was kids that were usually under the age of approximately 10.
Spence's callboy network was investigated in 1989 by reporter Paul Rodriguez of the Washington Times.
Letitia said, Aunt Sarah, the one that comes to Sunday dinner talking about our government. I love it, girl.
That led me to a call boy
Who was president at that time? I'm not sure because this.
And he tells
I
the tale
don't.
of being brought
I
to the
don't
White
know.
House on occasion, kind of as a reward for the kid.
Craig Spence is dead. He committed suicide. He
Isn't
had
that Reagan?
stages of AIDS. He was an AIDS carrier and he killed himself. This was the thing that always bothered me.
Darlene
They claimed
says,
it was the largest
who was president at that time? I think it was Reagan.
in the city that they've ever had uncovered. It was $1 million a year minimum.
I'm not sure.
And yet the only
I'm just-
prosecutors, the operator, Henry Vinson, and 3 of his lieutenants, as it were, they never went after any of the Johns or the clients. This
Papa
operation
Bush. Might have
claimed to
been.
have clients that ran from the White House to the Capitol Hill to the State House to the churches within the media.
Exactly what Paul describes as the people he was with.
And a lot of the stuff led there, but we couldn't quite nail it in all cases.
It was
because,
Reagan.
Again, to accuse someone of high stature, you've got to be very careful.
I understand.
We were able to do it through the mother lode was provided us credit card receipts and canceled checks. And then,
No, it was Ronald Reagan.
The clients. The prosecutors knew all this stuff. There was approximately...
I forget what year. You'll ask somebody else because I'm. Can you look up the year, somebody, please?
We've attempted on several occasions to unseal that, and we've been told it'll be a cold day in hell before those records ever get unsealed. And it makes me wonder what's in those records.
Yeah.
Exactly. You hear that? A cold day in hell before those records get concealed.
John DeCamp believes that the legal system is still being subverted and that the people protected are still at the heart of the American establishment.
Hear that?
He hopes that this program will expose a serious miscarriage of justice, but the opposition is formidable.
They always are. They have been throughout
It's
history.
beyond belief that arguably the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States, in the form of Richard Nixon, could not prevent the investigation of Watergate, or that President Reagan could not prevent the investigation of Iran-Contra. And yet somehow
This group of unnamed, unknown, anonymous individuals in Omaha, Nebraska have such power they can control and protect all of these people from being investigated. Those allegations are ridiculous.
Of course. How much were you paid to say that?
Nixon did cover up Watergate. Number one. Bush did cover up Iran-Contra, at least
Slap
officially.
back.
And Omaha has successfully covered up this situation. In each case, it was the press that exposed the problem. It wasn't institutions of government.
There you
They
go.
had been corrupted. They had been compromised. They were the ones
They're
doing the cover-up.
compromised now,
The
too.
Attorney General is now involved. DeCamp's evidence has been passed by William Colby to a senior lawyer in the Justice Department.
He did say that the Attorney General's office would be very sensitive to any charges of abuse of children, that this was a matter of considerable priority to the department, that this sort of thing not take place, and that they would assign an officer to look into the case.
For John DeCamp, the story of Larry King's corrupt empire holds a dire warning for all America.
If you can control about 3 or 4 key elements, you can totally own a state. You can make right wrong. You can make truth falsehood, falsehood truth.
They're
If you
clapback,
control
yeah,
the
not
media,
slapback. Did I say
if you
slapback?
control the Justice Department,
Hear that?
you control the
They've got the Justice
police.
Department, just like they do
you
now.
own the system.
Yep. They own the system. They use their power and intimidation. And I don't know what happened to the sound. That was back when the press was serious about investigative journalism. Okay. This is the one that I was wanting to watch. Not that one. I don't know why it played that one. This is the one I was wanting to watch. Is this it? Hold on just a second. Oh, yep, this is it, I think. This is another one.
Greetings, world. We are in on DK. Today we see the mainstream media dying. The CIA mind control human experiment called Mockingbird, which has programmed America since the creation of the TV, is finally breathing its last. Even though these programmers have been previously and extensively exposed on both sides as the actors in scripted farce it is. Yet the masses listen to the bullshit they say and obey. The next elite scripted brainwashing programming you are addicted to and cannot function without. Can't live without. Has stolen your soul. It is the drug the elite have forced on you since birth, and the masses will never be freed. As the elite switch bands, as the mainstream dies and the alternative is brought to light.
Uh-oh, here it is, guys. This right here. Everybody in the freaking country needs to see this.
Government-paid programming is pushing focus to it is done for a reason. The masses will fall into the other news sources given them by the government, like Alex Jones and the Young Turks, The Guardian and others, already exposed, funded by CIA-controlled, truths mixed with lies, distractions. We hear nothing but Pizzagate in the news and the masses simply sit by and watch. I suppose when pedophilia is so rampant, when one sees it everywhere, it is difficult to care if it is a politician, a pizza man, or a school teacher. Cases have been uncovered before only to
Trigger
be the latest
warning.
splash for headlines. It is no different here. In the 70s and 80s, UK revealed the elite in the pedo ring.
Fucking monsters.
Little was done besides the news spread and gossip. It is about the feeling, not the fact. The fact that in every high level of power, on any front, there is the elite. Banking, media, law, medicine, government, all controlled by the elite who control everyone beneath them. Blackmail. In their life you have to pay to play. This is simply another Franklin Files scandal. It will be swept under the rug as always, and everyone will forget about it again. Just
No,
like the
we
countless
won't.
times the White House has had children on a tutor after hours. Secret service serviced by small boys secretly. The sex parties held in embassies. This is what your ambassadors do, not sex with adults. These are the people who protect the pedo rings. They are the ones involved at the upper levels. Thanks to them, anyone can find child porn online and not have to do the real-life event. It is made so easily accessible. The elite create the movies, the snuff films, and the couch pedo can watch in comfort, somehow justifying that it is okay to watch. It is only on a
Share
screen.
this
It is
with
not
every
real.
single
These people
person
would
that
be
you
easier
love
to
and
get
care
rid of if
about,
the justice
please.
system
We
existed.
are going to need each
That would
other.
require action from the masses to keep their rulers in check. People are immature and ignorant and easily programmed. It is disgusting. Every one of them blindly expecting someone else to lead them, feed them, fight for them, tell them what to do, tell them what to think, tell them what to feel, tell them how to act, tell them how to breathe, do everything for them. People have no brains, no thinking, no effort, no mind, no dignity, no respect, only the arrogance and pride which always comes with an educated ignorance. This is the proud human species. It is disgraceful. The ever-increasing urge for security and safety. You are in so much danger. You must be afraid. You must be helped by the big pedo-infested elite. They are the only ones who know how to live on this earth. The only ones who know you, the only ones who can care for you. It is all about you, the self, or you. How can people stand to be surrounded by such waste? It is sickening. So the masses continue to believe the mainstream, believe Hollywood, believe everything, believe Pizzagate is fake, believe pedophilia is normal, believe rape is good, believe that only a small amount of people are really active satanic pedophiles, and they could never be in positions of importance. These people just come from nowhere. They earn their positions in government, Hollywood, music. Do not think pedophilia and Satanism are few and far between. Do not be a fool. In order to
Tell
have
the
fortune or
fucking
fame, you must sell your
truth.
soul to Lucifer. That is not heaven and it is nothing new.
This has got to
Pedophilia,
stop.
which comes directly
We
from
will not
Satanism, along
progress
with every other
until
perversion,
this
has long
stops.
infected the ruling class of most countries in all of history. The only way someone gets into positions of power is by doing human sacrifice. Satanic sex rituals which always include children, torture, and the death of the victim which must happen
I
during
don't
the
want
time
to
a
live in a
sadist is
world like that. I
climaxing
would rather
sexually while
die.
simultaneously the child must take its last breath. To say these people are sick is a severe understatement and allows them the excuse. It pacifies the masses and creates pity for the pedo when it is an unforgivable act. Some women give birth only to give their children to sacrifice to Satan. Not always are the children born before this happens. This is no joke. This happens every day. This is what parents allow. This is what selfish humans do, breed without thought or care for another life. Reproduce only to drain the blood from their child. Watch it slowly die, stab it repeatedly with small knives so it bleeds faster. Mutilate the genitals of these children and babies. Rip the flesh off of their bones. Make them suffer as much as possible during their lives. Ignoring it does not make it go away, or it would have been
Can we
gone over
please,
5,000 years
please do
ago.
something?
As you sit here, a
America,
male or female
please.
pedophile is tearing the clothes off of some small child.
If you've
If
ever
we look at the
used life.
underground pedo rings in Italy as an example, we will find they enjoy tearing layers of skin off of the children, one at a time. This intense and indescribable pain forces the young mind into a state of shock. When there is shock introduced in any human brain still developing, it splits consciousness. It splits the
I can't
mind.
even look at
You
this,
never
but
think about
please,
what you
please,
see and hear.
please, tell
Did
the
you not
truth.
see in every Harry Potter movie that Voldemort split his soul? He did so because he murdered. It does not split the soul alone but the mind as well. And it does not take something as severe as murder to complete the fragment. Do you not see the latest music videos your children watch endlessly? Children you allow to watch movies filled with satanic symbolism and brainwashing. You allow your children to act and dress like sexual objects. You allow the inappropriate sexuality consume daily life. Toys, games, everything children hear and see is filled with sex. Parents flood the internet with pictures of their children for all the world to see and use as they wish. And you want to be surprised when they get kidnapped and raped. Wake up and pay attention. Actually study the next show you watch. The next movie your child watches. Pay attention. Be a parent. Know the symbols. Know the terms. Know what it is you are allowing into the unformed mind of your child. We see this practice in most Hollywood movies. Children are tortured, isolated, shocked, violently raped until they are destroyed inside, which most die from, chained.
Now, do you still want to say that this is fake?
This splits the mind.
I had no idea it was this bad, guys. We have got to do something. I don't think I can watch the rest of this. This is just, oh my God. Please. Please, please, please.
There is no healing. You allow it to happen once, and people are destroyed for life. How the hell would you think it would get any better? Just because you stopped hearing about it. Are you
That's trapping a
yet?
soul.
The children are.
It's just awful.
The children you allow to be raped and murdered by the tens of thousands every day are uncomfortable. Let us look at some numbers. There are an estimated 4 million children born in USA every year.
I know we need to see this, Paul, but I wish someone else would have watched it because I just can't.
Every year in USA. This is unheard of everywhere else in the world.
I can't.
In China, an estimated 200,000 children are reported missing each year. When the children are found murdered by these groups, it is reported in local papers only. Rarely does
they have no respect for a human soul.
One famous pedo
you can call me Alex Jones, you can call me fucking Tin Hat, whatever you want to call me, but they have no respect for a human soul.
50 child raping priests in Pennsylvania were arrested. They have raped hundreds of children in their churches over the past 40 years. All charges were dropped, of course. The elite are protected. Pedro Lopez claims to have raped, mutilated and killed over 300 children. All girls between the age of 8 to 12 years. 53 young girls were found in a mass grave. He was released in 1998.
Can't believe.
Bradley was a pediatrician in Delaware who was facing 471 charges of molesting, raping and exploiting 103 child patients. One was a boy. The children were as young as 3 months old. It is not difficult to see that this is hardly a small thing. But can you accept it? These are only some of the listed numbers. We will never know the exact amount as most of the bodies are burned and buried and never to be seen by this generation again. Believe all the lies you want. You cannot see the shit you are drowning in because of your complacency and idleness. In New Guinea, some tribes force their female children to perform oral sex on the leaders of the tribe. It would take a genius to figure out who wrote that rule. Just as the
fucking religion is what wrote that damn rule. I'm fucking so sick of religious doctrine keeping control of everybody.
Do not stop them from kidnapping and torturing and beheading children in Argentina, Italy, Britain, Syria or Bangladesh or anywhere else the satanic pedophiles reach. Why would you? You do not even stop them from kidnapping, torturing and raping your own children every day. You are the reason this continues and was allowed to happen today. Countries like Canada with citizens who force their governments to act, citizens who know how to control those who believe they can rule another, citizens who do not put up with the lies and brainwashing, who do not allow satanic pedophiles be free once exposed. Canadians fearlessly arrested dozens of putrid pedophiles and saved hundreds of children from further daily and deadly attacks. Another country whose citizens who are still human. Norway arrested 51 pedos in this large international ring as well. There is an estimated 70,000 members in this single international pedo ring alone. Doubtful we will see them all arrested. Australia and other countries have uncovered and arrested many members in these large
Religion
international
is how they
rings.
control the
So why
masses.
no
Make
charges or
this go
arrests of any
fucking
kind from the
viral.
American
And
citizens?
please put a trigger
Do
warning.
they enjoy their children getting mutilated
Jesus.
by satanic puppets? Do they all think pedos who run the entire country will arrest themselves? They obviously support it since nothing is being or will be done. We have seen it all before. As one well-known satanic pedophile stated so proudly about her latest human sacrifice to Satan. At this point, what difference does it make? Still no one knows. And until the American citizens understand what difference it actually does make, no one will care or do anything. Don't be a fool and celebrate. It is far from being stopped. A few hundred children rescued out of tens of millions of children still involved in a constant stream of new children added every day. If Americans were not supportive of the satanic elite's control, they would not be in positions of power today. American citizens are fully involved and supportive of pedophilia.
It's our government and we need to take it the fuck back.
Supportive of people ripping the insides of children apart with their bodies and other objects. Supportive of people destroying not only the body but the mind of the innocent who cannot protect themselves. Americans' lust for blood and love of violence will lead them to that end. Of course, since the internet and the dark web, it is unlikely any numbers will ever be exact. The people who control the government, the people who control the police and media, the people who produce the snuff films and the porn films of what they do, are protected by each other because the elite who control these things are the ones in control of many if not all of these pedo networks. Until the elite are gone, it will all remain and be allowed to run rampant.
Did you hear that? And now they're trying to become part of our fucking culture.
It will bring on itself. Stop supporting it. Stop participating by allowing satanic ritual sacrifice, pedophilia, rape, murder,
Stop
all
it.
their evil things to continue. The time of judgment is coming and no one can say they did not know.
Investigate the fuck out of these scumbags.
Guilty. The judgment earned by the actions of the masses will be rewarded to them in full. While you sit idly by watching this, hundreds of thousands of innocent children have been kidnapped and are currently having their clothes ripped off of them. Some are currently having their hair ripped out, having a gun or knife held to their face. They are being suffocated by a pillow. They are having their arms and legs held apart by grown human people. They are being penetrated repeatedly. 400 times, 700 times. 4 different adults. 20 different adults. Sweat. Blood. Tears. It never ends. Right now they are wishing to die. Right now they are being forced to perform oral sex on a dead child who was alive only moments ago. Right now children are forced to give oral sex to adults. They are choked, suffocated and torn apart by the adult as it
We
continues
cannot
to
let
thrust
this
into the
go
child over
on.
and over
Make
again.
this viral. Make people
Right now
aware.
there is a child strapped to a table or bed, starved, beaten, alone, cold, and hoping against all hope to die. What are you doing about it? Expect no one.
That's what he
There
meant.
is no one left who gives a shit. It's up to you now.
Anonymous is more powerful and relevant than ever. For this force, the voice of none is stronger than the voice of one.
Please not forget. Please not forget. Expect us.
Well, guys, that was the most disturbing thing that I've ever seen in my life. But it shows you that that is real. And we have got to stop it. And I need a break. So if Letitia, if you want to talk about this, I would love to hear your voice, honey, because I am upset right now. I love y'all. Bye.